Today we're talking about spaceflight, specifically for SpaceX vehicle Starship. Now, if you're not familiar with Starship, it's basically SpaceX cutting-edge experimental rocket that can achieve fully and rapid reusability, which no other rocket company can do on the planet or in the history of spaceflight at all. Because it's basically considered impossible until they pulled it off with the recent launch. But today we're talking about a video that goes all the way back to summer 2021. It's the tour of a factory that manufactures all those rockets with Elon Musk. It's by a guy called Everyday Astronaut, Team Dot on YouTube. He is a rocket nerd. He does these videos where he educates people on everything about aerospace and spaceflight. He basically walks around the factory looking at everything they're manufacturing with Elon Musk so he can ask questions and Elon can answer all of his questions. Well, talking about innovation, I think the Starship project is one of the most innovative projects in our modern history because it's attempting to achieve something that's almost impossible because you're essentially, you want to land a rocket from orbit that comes in at such a high orbital velocity. You're basically taking something that's as big as a 10-story tall building. It's going to smash through the atmosphere at such a high velocity. It's like crashing right into concrete. It's got to be able to survive that. And also, you got to make sure that this giant building precisely lands on a arm structure. Let's see, like everything is just so innovative because none of these solutions have been conventional. They basically had to reinvent everything from scratch. Today, one of the most important takeaways is first principle thinking. This is a philosophy that Elon Musk has persisted on, and it's practical in engineering, but also I think I apply this principle in everyday life. Just with everything I do comes from first principle thinking. I just think it's necessary. Well, in the video, they walked around the factory. They got to look at the high bay, which is where they stack up the boosters and Starship, and they looked at grid fins, which are the proprietary fins that SpaceX manufactures. That nobody else has done before them. First of all, grid fins are the gridded metallical structure that hangs on the outside of the vehicle. There's 3 of them, and they sort of pivot. They turn. This is for attitude control. This is for controlling the roll authority of the rocket. When the rocket ascends or descends by pivoting those grid fins, it could essentially redirect airflow. It's like now air is flowing straight, and if you turn, the air is sort of flowing this way, making the rocket turn. It's at 28 minutes, 24 seconds approximately. But originally the grid fins are supposed to fold down during ascent, but they just removed that. They made it so that grid fins stick out throughout the entire duration of the flight. It never retracts, it never folds, because that is an example of first principle thinking. They're eliminating an engineering step. They're eliminating one more part that could fail, and mechanically, because it's not needed, because throughout testing they found that without even retracting the grid fins, it doesn't affect the performance of the rocket. So there's one less part to fail during flight. Let's talk about perhaps the most critical part of the entire video, which is where the YouTuber, when talking about the cold gas thrusters on the side of the rockets, where basically the rocket shoots out compressed gas that are not combusted. When Elon was talking about them, the YouTuber realized, oh wait, isn't it easier to reuse the hot gas that is already in the system that's part of the main engines to help control the attitude of the rocket, so you don't need the cold gas? And Elon thought about it. You can see it at around 45 minutes. He visibly took a pause, thought about it. Instead of being arrogant, he actually took the feedback and thought about, wow, this is actually a feasible solution, right? This is actually simpler. He said, thanks, we're going to fix that. And in the next tour in 2022, when the YouTuber came back and did another tour of the rockets, the structures have changed. They've made changes to the rocket and it's already in production. It's amazing. So they've taken the considerations, they've thought about it, obviously, and immediately, within 1 year, that's that engineering change of the decision. I think it's the best example in innovation, because even in the lecture, you've mentioned that innovation doesn't have to come from the highest authority people. It could literally come from anyone. Here's a YouTuber that doesn't have any credentials in aerospace, just a guy that loves aerospace and knows a lot about it, actually. That's why he's able to get a tour with Elon in the first place. And changing perhaps one of the most important designs, as quoted by Elon, in Starship, which is the most ambitious project. I think it's just the prime example for what we talk about in class. I think the major takeaway for people is like there's no end to innovation. There's no end to iteration. You keep iterating. That's literally the philosophy of SpaceX, right? They don't spend years building a perfect rocket that looks perfect, that performs perfectly. They spend months building a test vehicle, test flight, smashes to the ground, explodes, while they have like 3 other rockets that are already built in the high bay lined up for testing. Right? You don't care about how the stocks are doing. You don't care about people's criticism on the internet because they don't know anything they're talking about. You just keep innovating. You keep testing, crashing, exploding rockets until you learn valuable lessons out of it, and you keep iterating your current design to make it more reliable. That is the way. And people frequently miss out on that. And I think from the grid fan, you can learn that you optimize a design by deleting features from it. You don't, it's not like the more features you add to a product, the better. No, it's literally not. It's one of Elon's major philosophies. You delete features. So some of the best engineering comes from deleting features. Like it's hard to, work on a project with a bunch of engineers and to have them delete a feature. And that is the best innovation because you're simplifying something, and you can see that directly in the Raptor engine designs. Those are some of the most advanced engines ever made. It's a full flow station combustion cycle engine. They have to manufacture a specific kind of metal alloy to sustain that high heat, so it doesn't melt itself. Throughout the iterations of the Raptor engines, it gradually got simpler and simpler and simpler. It is just amazing. The third iteration of the Raptor engine literally looks like Raptor 1 with all the plumbing stripped out, but it's more reliable. It performs better. I think the third takeaway is the best ideas could come from anyone, right? You just got to be a good listener. You got to take anything into account, like Elon here did. I know he's a controversial person, but at least we can learn that from him. Just if you see a good idea, don't be arrogant and try to defend your ego. Like it's literally like a waste of your personal energy and time. If someone hands you a better idea, take it. It is literally the best gift, as Elon has stated. If someone says something that could literally make your design better and in turn make a better product out of it, why not? It is literally the best thing that could happen to you. All right, that's been it. Thanks for listening.